Did you know that every doctor knows how to kill a patient? Furthermore, I would say they are in possession of knowledge on how to cover up their tracks or maybe make it look like something else happened. You probably wonder where I'm going with this. Well, the objective of this video is to share my experience and tell you exactly why is it so important as a DevOps web developer to possess the knowledge about killing the patient. And here I mean simply hacking, not just the theory behind all the methods and how it happens and so on, but also the practice, to try it out without breaking the law and so on. Keep on watching my video, not in order to use it for the bad purpose. In this video, I will not show you how to hack and exploit systems. This is not the idea. I would like to point you towards some references that I used in my own career and tell you actually how much I gained from the practical training. So the thing is, if you're a web developer, if you're a DevOps or a product manager that manages web applications, it's essential that you know one little thing. Sooner or later, or it's just a question of time, your code will be hacked. The question now is how to prevent that. Well, the thing is, if you know it's going to happen, probably it will be nice to design your systems in such a way to minimize the possible damage. And this is exactly here where the practical knowledge opened up my own, let's say, experience to a completely new level of ideas, so that I could actually write better code, use better architecture. So when the bad thing happened, the damage was minimal. You don't want to waste your time. Where to start learning in the beginning? In this case, I recommend you the OWASP Top 10. OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Project. And this is a foundation, and they compile a report which is called OWASP Top 10. The report is made by professionals, and they use, of course, both their experience, live data that was gathered from really many applications across the internet. And what is really good about this list is that the top 10 makes like a countdown of the top 10 most notorious problems. And here, of course, they take into account how often do they happen, how often the attackers actually try to exploit them, and so on. So basically, if I was supposed to start my journey with some security and so on, you have to start with some theoretical background and with some formal foundations. And here, the OWASP Top 10, it's great. If you take a look at the report, you will see that apart from naming the problems, the attacks and so on, they also explain the way they are performed, and they also tell you how to mitigate them. But OWASP Top 10, it's of course not enough. You have to dig deeper, and here, if you have time and resources, I would definitely recommend actually getting a crypto course, security course, or something like that. The way I did it at my university, I was exposed to two great books. The first one was by Bruce Schneier, Applied Cryptography, and the other one was by Matt Bishop, Computer Security. Of course, courses I had during my formal education, they also included something about protocol design. And here I must tell that this was a very important ingredient in the whole mixture. So basically, if you have a chance, please do check these books out, because they contain massive amount of good knowledge. Now you think like, okay, these books are old. Believe me, the thing that changes in the security when it comes to algorithms and the good principles and so on, usually you up the number of bits in keys and so on. So basically, in many algorithms, you increase the numbers, and some of them go away because they are deemed insecure, because we have too much computational power available. If going through all of these books sounds tedious and, well, not sexy, don't give up. If you don't want to go through the books, at least get a good course where somebody's going to explain you some of the theory and foundations behind the crypto and the security, so that you get the understanding about how these things work and how important it is. Now the other thing, actually getting to the practical part, which I would like to focus on now, has sense only if you have enough theoretical background. And I know it sounds like all those boring guys at school and so on saying like, oh, you need to read all those books and blah, blah, blah. Well, actually, yes. If you have an understanding on how the mechanism actually works, what's the modus operandi of the idea, it will be so much easier to actually go through the practical training, and you're gonna get so much more from it. What was my biggest shock when I was doing my practical training with professional penetration testers, it was how easy it is actually to gain control over a system through a simple SQL injection. Let's focus now on the practical part and how exactly this can bring you to a completely new level. So you ask yourself, what's the purpose of shooting a video in a dark tunnel? All I have here is this little flashlight on my head, and this is exactly the situation. You have a lot of formal knowledge, you've read all the theory about all the attacks and so on, but the real deal, how the attacks are performed, how it really happens, what is it actually they are looking for? These things, that's all the knowledge that you get when you get outside of this tunnel. When you actually go out. Let's get to the practical part. If you took a look on the OWASP Top 10 report, you probably noticed that's a lot of pages, that's a lot of links, that's a lot of knowledge. If you checked out the books I mentioned, you're like, oh my God, these 2 breaks, that's gonna take a lot of time. Sadly, yes, it is complicated and it requires some of the effort. But think now about the practical part. Here, you really don't want to be alone. Of course, given enough preparation, time, and determination, you can just download Kali Linux yourself and you can have some fun. But the thing is, the way I did it, I actually went to a professional course made by pro pen testers. And a pen tester, it's a person that tries to hack systems on order. So basically, you have a company that invites a good hacker and tells him or her, can you please hack us? And that person is trying to get in. And this is like a very good test of your security routines and everything, because these guys, they really try to get in via different ways. But the good thing is, when you select a course, you'll actually get a lot of things prepared for you. For example, on my course, we got a virtual machine with specially crafted Kali Linux. And these guys, they actually, throughout 2 days, they had a special curriculum and they showed us all the stuff that is relevant to us, web developers, DevOps guys. And I could save an enormous amount of time, because otherwise I would have to check and look up all the tools available in Kali Linux and so on. Of course, it's nicely grouped and so on. But when you have someone that is guiding you, it's much easier. You know, it's just like here on the trail. I'm following this levada. And of course, by knowing exactly where to go, it makes the whole navigation much easier. If you would like to extend your practical knowledge, please do consider if it's within your financial possibilities, go to a professional course. First of all, a professional pen tester will help you prepare the environment. They'll actually guide you through the process of hacking applications, because they will come up with apps that you can hack. What's even more important, it's going to be 100% legal. It's going to be 100% legal because, as you know, depending on the country, sometimes even running just a simple port scan without permission is already illegal. This is the case, for example, in Denmark. I'm not advertising anyone here, but I would like to tell you exactly how much I got from my 2-day course. First of all, as I said before, I was completely shocked how easy it is to gain a complete control over a machine just by exploiting a simple SQL injection. Then, of course, I've seen some of the tools I've never heard about. I was able to ask actually questions that normally, if you ask them on the internet, you may be not sure you're getting the truthful answer. I was able to also ask questions which are relevant to my line of business. You know, it's like asking a book without going through the index or performing a search. For me also, when I was doing all the attacks during the course and I was trying to hack systems and modify files and so on, they were also mentioning tools that you can use to mitigate these attacks. And of course, that showed me exactly when these guys get in, what do they modify? What do they break and so on? The thing is, I already had an extensive knowledge here because I'm managing a lot of systems, and some of them, unfortunately, are getting hacked every now and then. And whoever runs a WordPress probably knows that because that's exactly where most of the attacks are happening. But the main thing is, you can get a lot from here in terms of the practical way of discovering what kind of things you should protect for, how to secure your systems when somebody gets in, and how to make sure that you can actually do some forensics later on. And the last thing, of course, and the last thing is logging. This is something that you're going to learn the hard way. Basically, not logging at the source is one of the pinnacles of designing secure systems. And when you do those exercises and you hack systems, you hack applications in a controlled environment, you'll figure out how important it is to have the knowledge how the bad guys got in and what you should actually clean up, whether you can trust almost anything that you have on a hacked system and so on. So from that point of view, I seriously recommend it. And yes, all my 5 fingers. If you ask me whether I would like to use my knowledge for the bad purpose, the answer is no, 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 no. I'll not use it. And whenever I work with somebody or I'm teaching somebody and they ask me how to do something and it actually could be linked to some illegal or illicit activity, you're gonna hear no, because that's not me. I'm not interested in hacking other people. I'm interested in building businesses and making sure that all our data is nice and secure. To summarize, having a mixture of formal knowledge and practical experience. And here I'm not only talking about the idea of, well, my systems have been hacked, my code has been exploited and so on. This is actually something I can honestly say from the perspective of many years of working within that business as a DevOps and a developer. This has opened up and broadened my horizons to a completely new level. The code I'm writing, the systems I'm designing, the systems I'm managing, I do it in a completely different way. I notice also I'm much better when it comes to identification of potentially bad patterns. I can easily see, okay, in that bit you have a possibility of a replay attack. In that bit, this is not going to work. Do you know something about this and that? So I seriously recommend doing it. And I shot this video to tell you that you have to invest some time into some formal education, and you have to read, you have to go through the foundations. If you understand them, you're going to get to the practical part on a completely different level, and what you get out of it in the end is going to be completely spectacular. And later on, of course, remember to maintain that knowledge, because things within the security world and the crypto world, they are of course changing almost every day. I recommend that you at least ask in your office about OWASP Top 10, and if you hear a no, then make sure something is going to happen with that, because as I said, sooner or later your code will be hacked.